last Thursday, November 22nd. And oh my god. Like, sometimes I forget how much I love The Hunger Games because I read them so long ago. I read them as they were released. Catching Fire is my favorite of the 3 books. It's just the best. It's just the best one. My first book talk ever was The Hunger Games / Catching Fire. And, so it's not really a real book talk, but it had the honor of being the first. How do I even begin about the Catching Fire movie? It's the most accurate, fantastic book-to-movie adaptation I think I've ever seen in my entire life. The level of enjoyment that I had while watching it was equal to Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 2. It was on par. It was right up there. It was like my brain waves, like it was the story just exactly how I saw it, just translated into beautiful images before my face. I love the opening scene. This movie made me like Gale a little bit. It was weird when he was like, the rabbits think they're taking over, not with that accent. I liked him. I was like, oh, Gale, there you are, just hunting with Katniss. The cinematography is absolutely beautiful. I love when she goes to shoot the turkey and she sees a person. The PTSD is just, I screamed when she screamed. The characters are being tortured, and it's one thing to read it, and it's another thing to see it. I think the acting in this movie was phenomenal. I just want to see it again. I want to see it again so bad. I've only seen it once thus far. I love the interpretation of Victor's village. It looks like a graveyard. It's perfect. It's perfect. And then we have the scene where she goes to wake up Haymitch. It's straight out the book. I'm like, is this my brain just playing on a screen? It's straight off the page. It works beautifully. A lot of times that doesn't happen. It just shows the talent of Suzanne Collins and her dialogue. I was just flashing back to reading it, like the Haymitch and the water and I just got a bath and the knife when Haymitch was like, rah, with the knife when he woke up. Oh, and then Peeta, perfect when he came in with the bread and he was like, Katniss, would you like a piece of bread? Laughing so much. I cried so many times in this movie, but I also laughed so much just because it was so perfect. It did such a good job. Francis Lawrence. And he's, I believe, directing the 2 Mockingjay movies, so score! Then we have the tour, which is so emotional. We get to see Effie, and Effie is fantastic. My love for Elizabeth Banks as Effie just shot up through the roof because she was perfect. She was so perfect. Oh my god, her outfits were on another level in this movie. I keep flashing to the butterfly one, maybe because I saw it so much in the trailer. I love that butterfly outfit and her hair. We're a team, I'm gonna get you boys something gold. And I have my hair. It just really got me. It just was exactly what we read. You get the exact feeling of the book when you're watching the movie, and that's so rare. And we have that moment where Peeta goes off the cards and they just say what they want to say to the people of District 11, and Effie's like, why can't they just stick to the cards? And the man gets attacked by the peacekeepers, and Katniss's reaction, I could not tear up. It was so emotional. Every time this happened, I was like, I love the way that they had the tributes and their families on top of these little stages in the audience, so you could see exactly who the tribute was. This is really great for a movie audience because it's hard to remember all the tributes, and just seeing the faces, you recognize it and you feel the sadness, and oh my god, it was just beautiful. I love the montage of the tour. I love the way Jen and Peeta would read the cards and the roboticness of it. And then the final stop of the tour at the Capitol was perfect. It was straight out the book, just like everything. It was exactly what I imagined. I love that they left in that part about how they eat and then they throw up, and just the dance with Katniss. And Josh Hutcherson did such a good job as Peeta. He's perfect Peeta. And the announcement of the reaping. That was such a great scene. It was such a great scene. Katniss runs out of the house, and Peeta and Haymitch's reaction. it was so well done. It was so well done. A lot of book to movie adaptations, they cut out parts that kind of upset us or make the story not as strong. They did such an excellent job of slimming down this book. They took out them training for the game, and I guess they took out their talents, like how her talent was designing and how his talent was painting. Oh my, I love the scene on the train. It's right out of the book too. It's when he's showing her the paintings that he makes. They're sitting at the back of the train and he's like, we need to be friends. And he's like, let's start easy. What's your favorite color? She's like, no, you've crossed the line. You've crossed the line! It was perfectly translated. The scene where the cameras first come and Katniss runs across and do their little kiss on the floor in the snow. That's the only thing that's really different for me. The Katniss's acting skills are so poor. And I understand that they probably were bad and I was just envisioning them better because she was acting for her life, I guess, but since Snow is never satisfied and Haymitch is never satisfied, then you could tell from the book that she's obviously not that good at it. But in my head, she was better. So when she kissed Peeta and was like, hi, Peeta, look, we're so happy. Joanna! Oh, Joanna was fantastic. I mean, I like Joanna in the book, but Joanna in the movie, she did a great job portraying her. The elevator scene was so funny. Jen's face, oh my god, it was so good. I just was laughing hysterically that entire scene. I love when they do their interviews and they're interviewing Joanna and she's like, F you, you can't kill me! I'm so happy with Finnick. He did a great job, and man, his American accent is fantastic. I'm so glad we got to see action sequences because you know how we were blind in the Hunger Games. Prim's little scream for Katniss was not as bad in the movie that it was in the trailer. The trailer was cut, so it just sounded horrible, like, Katniss! I love how they didn't take out the testing section where they rate them and how Peeta drew Rue on the floor and the Seneca Crane. Like, that was so perfect. It was exactly what I pictured. I can't. The part where Cinna was getting beat when she was stuck in the tube. It was so perfect and it was so emotional. I was crying. Then we go into the games and the whole movie, we're just on the edge of your seat. Once we got into the games, I couldn't breathe. It was so real and it was so well done and it was so exactly what I read. I just distinctly remember reading the part where she sees the bracelet on Finnick's wrist and he's like, good thing we're allies. It was straight out my mind, that scene in the movie. I couldn't believe how I felt like I'd watched it before. It was so perfect. The lightning tree, exactly how I visualized it. The monkeys! I screamed when the monkeys came on. That was scary. That was so scary. But the part when Peeta ran into the force field, exactly what I pictured. I love when Katniss is picking her allies and who she wants. They just did that so well. The tick-tock, it's a clock scene was fan-frickin-tastic. Things are never this close to what I visualized in my mind. When the island starts to turn so fast, it was so cool and so scary. I was like, no. Then we have the scene with the birds. Now, in the book, this scene was creepy, but in the movie, this scene was terrifying. And I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was Katniss and I was dying. I was like this. I'm sitting in the theater like this. When it stopped, I was like, I let out that breath. I didn't know I was holding. Like I said, it's one thing to read about this torture. It's another thing to see the torture in your own eyes. When you're reading it, sometimes you don't feel it like this. When you're watching this movie, you feel exactly how horrifying this government actually is. How horrible they actually are to people. How disgusting it is that this is entertainment. The scene between Katniss and Peeta on the beach was so sweet. In the book, the last scene, it can be confusing, kind of just the visual, because Katniss is knocked out and the way she's seeing things is confusing. When Joanna knocked Katniss out and then dug into her arm and I was just freaking out. So epic when they came down with the hovercraft. The hovercrafts! Seeing hovercrafts was just the coolest. The part with the interviews when they held hands. Brought me to tears. Just how all of them were kind of trying to get sympathy to stop the games. In the book, you feel that, but in the movie, you feel it more. It was just an emotional roller coaster. And when I mean roller coaster, it was just straight down the entire time. There was a little bit of build to get up here, and then the whole movie was like a drop. At the end, when the electricity hit the tree and Katniss's arrow went flying into the force field, it was so epic. Everyone in the theater cheered. I can't get over how great of a job they did setting up this arena. The scene when Katniss is dancing with Plutarch at the Capitol during the tour, and the way the camera circled them and kind of got closer, and it was just so full of tension, and the cinematography was just mirrored everything that was going on so well. The scene where Katniss wakes up on the hovercraft, straight out the book, straight out my mind, onto the screen. When they tell her that Peeta's not there, and she starts screaming like, "You're a liar, you promised!" And it was, Shayla, you're so fantastic. I can't believe Peeta's gone. I had a dream the night after this movie that I was Katniss and I would not let Peeta out of my sight. I just followed him around everywhere. We weren't in the arena. I was just following him all around in life. And then he turned into someone else and I was like, no! How could I lose him? I was here the whole time. The scene in the film where they're about to separate was just so heartbreaking because we know he's not gonna be there when she leaves with the wire. I don't even know what my favorite part is. The whole thing. If I had to pick a favorite part, I don't think I can. Honestly, I have to see it again and see which one is my favorite because I love all the parts so much. And then there was the snow coat. I just love that they keep things like the snow coat. I liked how we got to see Prim a little bit more and we see that she's taking on this healer type role just like the mother. And I love how the mother, she's trying to get the Morphling into the needle and she's shaking and Prim has to come and do it. That epic last line in Catching Fire.
There is no District 12.
And Katniss's face as she turns and is this shot just of her face lying down and she's like, we burn, you burn with us, mother. A+++++++++. I'm so excited for how they're going to translate Mockingjay because they have two parts. They can really make it wonderful. Scenes would go on for the perfect amounts of time. There was no rushing. Like, I felt rushed in The Hunger Games. Catching Fire was fantastically paced. Can you pick a favorite scene? How does this compare to Hunger Games for you? Really, Hunger Games is down here for me. Catching Fire is through the roof. I'm just so impressed. I'm so impressed. I'm really excited to see how they do Mockingjay because I don't have that many visuals for Mockingjay because there's so many things that just happened within the space of one sentence because it was all jammed together. Mockingjay should have been 2 books. It's gonna be 2 movies. I have so much faith in their ability to make them wonderful movies. I mean, the first trailer for Mockingjay is gonna be insane because we have no idea what to expect. There's so much in that book that you don't get a hard visual of. It just happened. It's gonna be crazy! This is how you make a book to movie adaptation. This! Share your thoughts. If you could pick a favorite scene, let me know. Who's your favorite new member of the cast? I think I have to go with Joanna. I loved Finnick as well, and I loved seeing him fight the monkeys with his trident. Oh, it was so cool. Share your thoughts. I'm Christine. Thanks for watching. Bye! That was me being Katniss lifted by the helicopter.